Hey everyone. Hope everyone's doing happy. I hope you all are doing blessed, doing safe, and doing well. Welcome to your Geek Report for the week of January 8th to 16th of 2024. Now, there is some things we need to kind of talk about, this week. But before I do want to apologize for how late this is. There's been some internet issues because of the recent storm that's gone through. There's also been some technical issues with my setup and everything. So I'm kind of having to do this on the fly. But I do feel that I should do something for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I could have pushed this back another week and done 2 weeks combined, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do 1 week every week as best I can. So this is your Geek Report for the week of January the 8th through the 16th of 2024. We're going to start off in TV and movie news, and we got some news out of Disney that The Mandalorian is not going to have a season 4, that it's going to have a movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu. And also, Ahsoka season 2 has reportedly been greenlit. I'm going to talk about both of these and kind of give you my thoughts on them. In more movie news, we got some news that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will premiere 1 week earlier on March the 22nd. And I'm going to kind of talk about that for a minute. And then over in gaming news, we're going to talk about what we could expect from the Xbox Direct coming this next week on January the 18th. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the Geek Report for the week of January the 8th through the 16th of 2024. So our first little bit of news comes out of the world of Star Wars, and that is that The Mandalorian is no longer going to have a season 4, but it's going to have a movie now. I really don't know how to feel about this, but let me just say this right off the bat. Anything concerning Star Wars is not set in stone until I see a trailer. That's just the way I feel about Star Wars nowadays. Because it seems like every time we get something announced, it gets canceled. Okay? And there's just so much chaos going on in the world of Star Wars and Lucasfilm that, to be quite honest with you, I don't know which way is up. I really don't. So until I see an actual trailer, I am not convinced they're going to go through with this. Okay? And that goes for any Star Wars project. And there's going to be another one I'm going to talk about later on. But any Star Wars project, until I actually see a trailer for it, until I actually see scenes from the actual episode, I am not convinced they're going to go through with it. It's the same way with the Acolyte, the Rey movie. Until I see actual scenes that they have shot for this particular project, I'm not going to believe it's coming out. Okay, it's just the way it is. But anyway, let's talk about it. Now, it says here from the Hollywood Reporter that it is going with Jon Favreau as director, okay? I'm okay with that. Jon Favreau has never really let us down when it comes to Star Wars. Now, I know a lot of people have said, well, he let us down on season 3. I don't believe that. I truly, honestly do not believe that. And I'll tell you why, okay? I think that there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes of The Mandalorian season 3. And that was out of his control, okay? I mean, I really do believe that. And the fact that we've not heard hide nor hair of Jon Favreau in God knows how long, I think really indicates that he was not happy with The Mandalorian season 3. I really do believe that. And I have to kind of wonder if maybe this ain't his way. This whole movie ain't his way of just kind of cutting himself off from Star Wars, okay? Maybe he's had enough, and maybe that's why he's doing this. Jon Favreau brought us The Mandalorian, okay? For 3 seasons, well, really 2. For 2 seasons, he kept Star Wars alive when The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, all that, when all that was basically killing off Star Wars in the name of political correctness, okay? Let's just be honest with us. Let's just be honest. He kept Star Wars alive for a number of fans out there. All right? But now they're doing a movie. And I have to say, I'm getting the feeling. Just now, look, this movie has not been filmed yet. They've not talked about it yet. But all they're saying is that he's directing and what's in this article. But like, I'm getting the feeling that this could be Jon Favreau's goodbye to Star Wars. That maybe he, like the rest of us, has finally had enough. Okay, maybe something happened behind the scenes that we don't know. And he said, "Okay, I'll do a movie to kind of close out the Mandalorian storyline, and y'all can do whatever y'all want afterwards." Okay, I get that feeling. I'm getting that feeling. Now, look, we're gonna read this article, and then we'll kind of give you some of my thoughts on it. But I'm just getting that feeling. This is kind of Jon Favreau's goodbye to Star Wars. That's just the emotional connection I'm getting. Because we've not heard anything from Jon Favreau. We see Dave Filoni's, Ahsoka film not Ahsoka film, but Ahsoka series really not doing good, and then we got all the other stuff like the Rey movie coming out, supposedly. We've got the Acolyte and just so much chaos and drama behind Star Wars that maybe John's just had enough, Maybe he said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm done, So, yeah, absolutely. I can see where this could be that. But there's also another thing I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But it says here that The Mandalorian and Grogu, and that's going to be the name of the film, a new film directed by the Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau, is a go at Lucasfilm and expected to film later this year. Favreau, Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm chief creative officer Dave Filoni will produce the feature, which the studio said will be the first Star Wars movie to go into production since The Rise of Skywalker. There has been some speculation that a film starring would be the first out of the gate, but it appears that project will take a little longer to hit hyperspace. I'm sorry. So it says here, I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created. The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. I want you to look at this sentence right here. Look at that sentence right there. Does that not sound like past tense? Really, does that not sound like past tense right there? It says, I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created. Why not say, I love telling stories in the world that George Lucas created? That almost sounds past tense. So I'm beginning to wonder if maybe this is it. Maybe this is Jon Favreau's goodbye to Star Wars, okay? Maybe he's just had enough, okay? And maybe this is his goodbye, all right? And it says here that The Mandalorian launched in 2019, that there is no date for the movie, but they're saying, but they believe it'll be on December 19th, 2025. And, it talks about marks a turning point, blah, 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 okay? So let me just point this out right now. The way he worded that, and I'm going to read that sentence again, okay? I'm going to read that sentence again so that way you can see it, all right? But just the way he worded that really has got me wondering if this ain't Jon Favreau's goodbye. And this is it right here, all right? It says, I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created, okay? The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. Okay, that's from Jon Favreau. Now I want us to look at that sentence. First off, it says I have loved. Okay, why didn't he say I love telling stories set in the rich world? Okay, because I think this is it. Okay, not only do I think that the Mandalorian is going to be killed off in this movie. Maybe not Grogu because he makes him too much money. But not only do I think the Mandalorian is going to be killed off in this movie, but I think this is the end for Jon Favreau. But there's another part of this sentence that we have to look at also. And it says, the prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. Which that right there leaves open the possibility that maybe there will be a season 4 of The Mandalorian, and maybe this won't be his goodbye song, okay? But this one sentence right here got me thinking that this is his goodbye song, okay? That maybe he has had enough, okay? That he's just had enough in terms of what's all been going on behind the scenes of Star Wars, of Lucasfilm. He's had enough, okay? And maybe it's time for him to move on. Or it could be that Kathleen Kennedy is forcing him out. But if you look at that last part of that sentence, the prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. He's leaving open the possibility that perhaps, just perhaps, this might not be the end for him. But but it's almost like he's saying, "This is the end for me, unless things change." In that one sentence, okay, that's what I'm getting from it. Okay, that unless things change at Lucasfilm, he's done. That the Mandalorian and Grogu, the Mandalorian movie, whatever you want to call it, is done. Okay, I mean, a couple months ago there was a video that basically showed Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau on opposite ends of the screen. Okay, I think that he has had enough. He's just done, you know. And I'm just getting, and I think this has been growing for a long time. And I personally think that season 3 was basically what broke the camel's back. I think he wasn't even happy with season 3. I think he didn't like season 3. You know, there's been reports that he wanted to leave Grogu with Luke Skywalker and have Mandalorian walk his own path. But that was changed because how popular Grogu has become in terms of the marketplace and stuff. I think a lot of things was triggering this, okay? I think season 3 is what really did it. But I think first off, it was Gina Carano, okay? I think all that stuff that happened with Gina Carano, he didn't like, and he probably didn't feel she was done right. But he probably stayed on in hopes that things would change. That basically things would change, okay? That maybe he could bring her back later on. And then there's Mandalorian season 3, and then there's the fact that he was overruled when it talked about the story. Whereas they wanted to keep Grogu in Star Wars. Instead of just leaving him with Luke Skywalker, they wanted to keep him in The Mandalorian. All right? And I think that was something else that kind of broke the camel's back right there. And that's the impression I'm getting, okay, is that just from this one sentence alone, and maybe I'm reading too much into this sentence, he's saying, I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created. I have loved, past tense. All right, but then you look at the second part, it says, the prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. I'm getting the feeling that he's giving us hope, but at the same time, he's being real with us. Like he's saying, this is going to be my swan song. This is it for me and the Mandalorian. Maybe not Grogu, but for me and the Mandalorian, this is it. And that unless something changes, this is it. Now, if something changes, I'll do a season 4 of the Mandalorian, okay? But if nothing changes, this is it for me. That's what I'm getting from this one sentence alone. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but that's the impression I'm getting, because we've not heard from him. We've not heard him talk about what Dave Filoni has done or anything. That's the overall impression I'm getting, is that he's basically saying, look, this is it for me in terms of my connection to Star Wars. This is it. Unless something changes, then I'll do a season 4. Like I said before, maybe I'm reading too much into this, okay, in this one sentence. But that's the impression I'm getting. Plus, when you look at what's all been done to him, can you really blame him? Okay? I think he just had enough. You know, I think he came into Star Wars wanting to enjoy this universe that he probably grew up with. Like so many of us, he probably grew up with this universe. But then he saw the ugly side of Kathleen Kennedy, and he tried his best to kind of change things, to make things about story. But eventually, when they did what they did in season 3, just make season 3 a complete trash fire, that was probably it. There was probably stuff leading up to it, like, you know, the whole Grogu stuff where he wanted to leave Grogu with Luke Skywalker, but instead they wanted to bring him back because he was making them money. There was probably the Boba Fett stuff where he had to go in and save the book of Boba Fett. There was probably the Gina Carano stuff. That all that probably led up to what is basically him leaving. But they don't want to come out and flat out say it. Okay, they don't want to come out and flat out say it, but he's trying to give us hints. Because remember, he's given us hints before. Season 3, a character that he fashioned from his own self that was basically an extension of his own self in the show was killed off. Okay, so that's a hint right there that he was reaching his limit, and I think he's finally reached his limit, and I think he's had enough, and that the Mandalorian and Grogu will probably be the end for the Mandalorian, but also for Jon Favreau. That's just the overall impression I'm getting right now. Now, let's move on to some more Star Wars news we got this week. And that news is that Ahsoka Season 2 has been officially greenlit by Lucasfilm. Now, this is the story over at Screen Rant, and it talks about how it's been in active development with Dave Filoni and Ahsoka Tano's co-creator, I should say. And it goes on down here and it talks about where Season 2 will continue the story from Season 1. It is being developed alongside the Mandalorian movie, which is being titled The Mandalorian and Grogu. And that the introduction of Grand Admiral Thrawn as the main antagonist adds intrigue to the ever-evolving Star Wars storyline. Okay. And it says here that Lucasfilm has officially confirmed that Ahsoka Season 2 is currently in development. Was a hit for the streaming service, which played a critical part in developing plans around The Mandalorian. It introduced Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that he's officially working on Season 2. And this here is the tweet where it shows two. It looks like one of them is Ahsoka. I'm assuming the other one is Sabine, because I didn't see Ahsoka Season 1. I full on will admit that. I did not see Ahsoka Season 1. Still haven't seen Ahsoka Season 1. But, like, I guess this is like a scene from Season 2, but maybe there's a point to that. I'm not very sure. And it says here that it will continue with Ahsoka Season 1 ending, where Sabine and Ahsoka were stranded in a distant galaxy on the planet Peridia and all that stuff. So let's just be honest with ourselves that Ahsoka Season 1 did not light a fire under a lot of people. It just didn't. Okay? But they have a chance of doing it now. And if Jon Favreau really is leaving, like I suspect he is, because like I said earlier, I full on believe that The Mandalorian and Grogu is his goodbye song. That he's leaving Star Wars after The Mandalorian and Grogu. And that his statement about, how I love, telling stories in the rich and diverse universe of George Lucas, like I said earlier, I full on believe that he was telling us secretly that this is it, unless something changes. And at one point I had hope for Dave Filoni. Okay, I thought, okay, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, they're going to rock this. All right, they're really going to rock this. But Dave Filoni has really let me down. And right now, the only person I can really trust with Star Wars is Jon Favreau. Okay, really is Jon Favreau. All right, and I really thought. And I heard all the stuff about, Dave Filoni said this and Dave Filoni said that and all that other stuff. But I really had hope after The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 that these two individuals would bring back Star Wars. That it would wipe the taste of the sequel trilogy out of our mouths. And maybe even retcon the sequel trilogy. Okay? For a long time, there were rumors about a retcon of the sequel trilogy using the World Between Worlds and Ahsoka. And maybe that still will happen. I hope it does. Okay? But if that doesn't happen, then Jon Favreau, not Jon Favreau, but Dave Filoni has really let me down. Really let me down. Okay? I thought that he really could do something great with Ahsoka. But by all accounts, he's really messed up a lot of stuff. Okay? And I just have to wonder if maybe he ain't playing along with Kathleen right now. If maybe, he came to a point where he was like, I can either fight against the stream or I can join the stream. And he decided to join the stream while Jon Favreau is still fighting. Okay? And I still believe that Jon Favreau is tired of fighting. He's tired of waging this war against forces he literally can't beat. He's tired of fighting for the fans when the fans have his back, but no one else at Lucasfilm does. Okay? And I just get this feeling that Jon Favreau is getting ready to leave, and that the whole thing around Ahsoka season 2 is that, you know, they're going to try to get them back into the Star Wars galaxy. And I still have hope that Dave Filoni will wake up. That hopefully that season 1 was a wake-up call for Dave Filoni, okay? And he hopefully will wake up and say, okay, you know what? Her way ain't working. Let me do it my way. And I'm just kind of hopeful that Ahsoka season 2 will be so much better than season 1, that they will actually, you know, push the button and retcon the sequel trilogy. They still have that option, okay? Because what do you think Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to do? Is the first thing he's going to do when he comes back to Star Wars universe is he is going to start rebuilding the Empire, and he's going to need Sith. Okay, and that means the Force, and that means the world between worlds. Okay, that's what it means. And you know, Dave Filoni, I'm sorry, man, you let me down. I was so sure that he and Jon Favreau with George Lucas could save Star Wars, that they could reverse what was the sequel trilogy. And I will be honest with you, The Force Awakens was an okay movie. It wasn't great. I didn't like what happened with Han Solo, but it was an okay movie. Where they lost me was The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. That's where they lost me. And some of it I can forgive because Carrie Fisher did pass away. And she will always be the princess of our hearts. But those movies, plus what else they've done in terms of The Mandalorian, in terms of Gina Carano, in terms of everything else, okay, it just piles up to the point where I'm seeing hardcore Star Wars fans saying, I'm tired of this. And maybe Jon Favreau is in the same boat. He's just tired. He's tired of fighting. He's tired of trying to save a universe when the company that owns it doesn't care about it except to throw out a message. Okay? And who can blame him? Really, who can blame him at this point? Okay? Let's just be honest. Who can blame him at this point? But yeah, like, you know, they're doing Ahsoka season 2 right alongside The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't think that it's going to be connected to The Mandalorian and Grogu. I think that they'll probably keep it separate from The Mandalorian and Grogu. But like I said before, you know, until I see a trailer with actual footage for Ahsoka season 2, then I'm not going to believe it's being filmed. And it's the same with The Mandalorian and Grogu. But The Mandalorian and Grogu, I have even more questions about, because there's so much chaos going behind the scenes. And what all Jon Favreau said in that article I showed you earlier just got me wondering if maybe perhaps there ain't hope that he's still going to stick around. But that he was telling us that, hey, this is my swan song unless something changes and they do something that makes me want to stay. Okay? I truly believe that. Okay? But where that's a different story than Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni has kind of just put all of his lot in with Kathleen Kennedy. That's probably why he's gotten Ahsoka season 2. Okay? That's probably why he's gotten it. Because he's thrown his lot in with Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if that's the way he feels, fine. Okay. Full on, if that's the way he feels, okay. But the truth of the matter is this, is that Ahsoka season 2 failed. The Book of Boba Fett failed, all because they kept on pushing the messaging. And unless he's willing to stand up and risk his job security, because I truly believe that Kathleen Kennedy probably said, you're going to do it this way or else you're out. Okay? So while I do think that Dave Filoni does have a part to play in what happened with Ahsoka season 1, he still has a chance to save it. Okay? He still has a chance to save Ahsoka season 2 if he just does it his way. Okay? But who knows? Maybe this whole proxy fight we've been hearing about happening for a while now will finally happen. And Nelson Peltz will take control, and maybe he'll do things that will actually bring back Star Wars. Okay? because we're seeing pictures online of Funko Pops that at one time would have been gone in people's homes, but now you can't even sell them online for $1 because no one wants, this Sabine Wren. They want the Rebels one. They don't want the one that's can be, struck by a lightsaber and survive. Okay? They don't want Reva. They don't want what's been pushed out at them. So I think Dave Filoni is coming to a point where he's going to have to make a decision. Just like Jon Favreau is. He can either keep going along with what Kathleen Kennedy's doing, and when it all comes crashing down, he can be made into a joke, just like she is. And I fully believe that. I fully believe that future generations are going to look at how this property was handled, and they're going to say, what in the world were they thinking? He can either take the path and follow Kathleen Kennedy and basically be an essay for future college students on how not to handle a IP, on how not to make movies. Or he can start charting his own course. He can start doing things right. He can go against Kathleen and maybe, just maybe, save Star Wars. Okay? Just maybe save Star Wars before it's worth nothing. But yeah, to kind of top things off, Ahsoka Season 2 has been confirmed by Lucasfilm as being in production, with Dave Filoni heading it up. So let's move on to other movie and TV news. And we're getting news that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, is being moved up 1 week early to March 22nd, 2024. Now, I really don't know about this, okay? This could be a situation where the people behind the scenes actually working on the film said, hey, we can be ready March 22nd, and they decided to move it up, okay? Now, according to this article, it says that they are going to take advantage of the spring break box office surge. A lot of people are going on spring break, all that. But this could also be a situation where the studios are rushing out a movie before it's ready. I really hope that is not the case. Afterlife, by all counts, was a good movie. I've not seen Afterlife. I would love to see Afterlife, and I probably will before this movie, but I've not seen Afterlife, okay? I really, really hope this is not a situation where they are rushing out a movie to make money, that they're not rushing out a movie too soon just to make a little money, okay? Because Afterlife was such a good film by all accounts. And if they can do the same with Frozen Empire, they will have brought back a basically dead franchise, okay? After 2016, no one probably wanted to touch Ghostbusters. And then these guys came along and said, let's play to the fans, not against the fans. And they brought us Afterlife, and Afterlife was a good movie, okay? It was a fun movie that brought back a lot of nostalgia feels from the scenes I've seen of it, okay? I mean, you had Gozer, you had the originals outside of Spangler. Spangler died in real life a couple years ago. And now they're talking about bringing back the originals as well as Janine and, the original cast from Afterlife and bringing it back to New York City. And there's even talk that this could be based off Extreme Ghostbusters, the animated series, okay? I don't know if that's true or not, but that's going to have to be something I look into. But, I really hope this is a situation where the people behind the scenes said, hey, we can be ready 1 week early. Instead of this being a situation where the studios are forcing it out and making them rush before it's ready. Okay? I really don't want them to rush this movie. Okay? This is one of those few movies I really don't want them to rush because I really want to see these great IPs I knew as a kid come back. When I was a kid, I loved Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters too, okay? But it just seems like all these great characters and properties that I knew as a kid from the 80s have died off, and or have been mistreated. Basically just mistreated. Star Wars is one example. Star Trek is another. So, like, yeah, like, I really hope this is not a situation where they're rushing it out the door to make $1. I really hope this is a situation where the people behind the scenes said, hey, we can be ready 1 week early and are actually going to do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will be releasing on March 22nd, 1 week early, to take advantage of the spring break surge that happens every year, I assume. And I just don't know what to think of this because, like, we've only had one trailer, so maybe this will force more trailers to come out. I'm probably expecting a Super Bowl trailer by February. I fully expect a Super Bowl trailer by now. Okay, after hearing this, I fully expect them to have a Super Bowl trailer. But yeah, like, they are bringing it out on March 22nd, 1 week early. So yeah, that's happening. But yeah, I really hope they treat this with respect. I hope they continue to play to the fans and not against the fans. Because at the end of the day, the fans are either your enemy or your best ally. Now then, let's focus on video games. And we only have one major story in terms of video games this past week. And that is that the Xbox Developer Direct is coming out on January 18th. So by the time you see this video, it will have already happened. Now, we're going to see, these are all the companies we're going to see here, okay? We're not going to see anything from Activision according to what they said. They also said there won't be any shadow drops, so there won't be any surprises. But this is the page for it, and it says here that we're going to we're going to see a couple of places. We're going to go over to Machine Games, and they're going to check out the new Indiana Jones game. So I'm expecting a trailer for the new Indiana Jones game. And we're going to see more from Avowed. And we're also going to learn about Era History Untold. And we're going to see Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory. It says here that we will get more information about Activision Blizzard in the upcoming weeks. Let's see. So we're looking at Indiana Jones from Machine Games. We're looking at Avowed from Team Obsidian. We're looking at Era History Untold, and we're looking at Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. So those are the games that are said to be talked about at the Developer Direct. The one I'm really interested in looking into is the Indiana Jones game. So I might just watch it for the Indiana Jones game. But I've heard that Hellblade was a great game, and Hellblade 2 could be a great sequel as well. So yeah, we're having a Developer Direct from Xbox, and it just shows that, I think this really shows that we no longer need E3 anymore, that we no longer need it anymore, and that these companies can come out and bring it out to the public themselves. I think this is probably going to be the start of a season where, you have all these reveals. I full on believe that we will probably get some more information from PlayStation. Maybe they'll do a PlayStation Direct or whatever you want to call it after this, and then Nintendo, and then whatever else. But yeah, it's getting that to be that time of year where they want to start building hype up for these games, especially the games that come out in the fall. Okay, so yeah, that's what they're going to start doing. So this Developer Direct is to do that. But I think people really wanted to know what was going on with Activision and Blizzard. Okay, especially Call of Duty players. Because I know a lot of Call of Duty players are frustrated. They're aggravated about all that's going on with Modern Warfare 3. They're aggravated at the lack of a basic campaign. I mean, it has a campaign in it, but from what I understand, it's only like 5-6 missions long, and it takes like 4 or 5 hours to complete. That the multiplayer is lackluster, and I think that if they weren't going to, show a trailer or anything, they could have at least said, "Hey, this is what's going on at Activision. We're working on these issues," and give us some information from Activision. I think that's what really people want to know about right now, especially with the fact that Bobby Kotick is now gone bye-bye. Who else is going to go? Okay. I personally think Joe Seacott should be bye-bye as well. Okay. I think he is, if not bye-bye, at least demoted, because he's proven that he does not know what he's doing with Call of Duty. Okay, especially with Infinity Ward. And I really do believe that people wanted to know about the Activision Blizzard stuff. If you couldn't show a trailer, if you couldn't talk about hard details, you could have told us something about what was going on with what you're working on. Okay, not even the Call of Duty stuff, just what new stuff are you working on? What new IPs in Activision are you working on? Are you working on a new Wolfenstein game? Are you working on a new StarCraft game? Warhammer 40K, I think it's coming out this year. So you could talk a little bit about that. You could have talked a little about the Activision stuff, okay? I would have liked to see that. But they are coming out with some new information about the Indiana Jones game and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I think that's going to probably be a little interesting. But the one I'm really looking forward to is Indiana Jones. Because, I think that this Indiana Jones game can really wipe away the taste we had in our mouths for the Dial of Destiny. The Dial of Destiny sucked. By all accounts, it sucked. I didn't even go see it, and I could. But, I didn't go see it, and I think that there is a very real possibility that if this Indiana Jones game is good enough, if they do it like Tomb Raider, make it open world almost, that they could really wipe away the taste in our mouths we had for the Dial of Destiny. Who knows? Maybe they'll even set it in like an alternate universe of Indiana Jones, or set it to where it's not going to the Dial of Destiny, but it's taking place after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but before Dial of Destiny, but it's not leading to it. It's its own alternate thing, which I think would be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm kind of looking to see what they're going to do with Indiana Jones. I'm looking to see kind of what they're going to do with Senua's Saga, all that, But I would have liked to see some information, just a little, about the Activision stuff. What they're doing with Activision and Blizzard, what their plans are, something. And I think it's a real disappointment that they're not talking about it. So that was your Geek Report for the week of January the 8th through the 16th. Just to kind of review what we talked about, we first talked about the fact that Disney has announced that they are going to do a Mandalorian movie with Jon Favreau directing, and it's currently being called The Mandalorian and Grogu, and also that Ahsoka Season 2 has also been greenlit for production. And in other movie news, we found out that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will be premiering 1 week earlier on March 22nd. And finally, in gaming news, an Xbox Direct, which is kind of like a presentation of some upcoming games for Xbox, is going to be coming out on January the 18th. It will be live streamed, and it will not feature anything from Activision and Blizzard. I hope you are doing safe. I hope you are doing well and doing healthy. I hope you are staying warm after that winter storm that came through. Take care of yourselves. Watch over each other. Check out my social media. Check out my other videos. And I hope to see you later. Thank you. And y'all have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay well. And I will see y'all in the next stream. Laters.